Welcome back to So You Really Want to Learn Latin. And today we're going to be looking at the word mille, which means 1,000. And we're also going to go on and look at how the Romans dealt with price and value. And finally, we're going to have a quick look at some funny little fellows called defective verbs. Okay, so that's three things we're going to do. So hold on to your hats. Here we go. Okay, first of all, the word mille. Now, it means 1,000, and it is an indeclinable adjective. Now, the great thing about indeclinable adjectives is they don't decline, so you don't need to worry about anything happening to its ending. At least not when you are just saying 1,000. Okay, things change a bit when you want to go up and talk about 2 or 3 or 4,000. So, mille meaning 1,000, you just put it with the noun you want to go with. So, you know, mille milites would mean 1,000 soldiers. Or he attacked with 1,000 soldiers, cum militibus mille, or cum mille militibus, with 1,000 soldiers. Okay, very, very easy. However, if you want to say thousands, like he came with thousands of soldiers, or with 3,000 soldiers, i.e. more than 1,000, then we use a different thing, and that is milia. And milia is a plural noun, and it has the forms, it's a neuter plural noun, it has the forms milia, 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 milium, milibus, milibus. Okay, so if we wanted to say 7,000 citizens, for example, now, there's something to be a bit concerned about here. So 7,000 would be septem milia, assuming we were in the nominative or even in the accusative. Okay, septem milia. But when we say 7,000 citizens, the word citizens has to go into the genitive because it's 7,000s of citizens. Okay, now we don't do that in English, but in Latin they do. So septem milia militum literally means 7,000s of soldiers. And that's how you say 7,000 soldiers in Latin. Okay, so just remember that milia, meaning thousands, is followed by a genitive. Okay, so we've got an example in here. With 2,000 soldiers, cum duobus milibus militum. Okay, duobus, that's the ablative plural of the word duo, meaning 2. Remember that one declines. 1, 2 and 3 in Latin decline. So cum duobus, then you've got this neuter plural word milia in the ablative, milibus, cum duobus milibus, and then that phrase is followed by a genitive, militum, of soldiers. And while we're looking at mille, you might be interested in the phrase mille passus. Now that literally means 1,000 paces. Passus is a fourth declension noun, that's its accusative, plural. 1,000 paces. The Romans would measure distances, particularly, you know, on a march, of how many thousands of paces they'd done, mille passus. And of course that's where we get the word a mile, because 1,000 paces, it's not exactly a mile, it's more like a kilometre, but, you know, that's where we get the word mile. And of course, if it was more than 1,000 miles, we'd need that genitive again. Quatuor milia passuum contendit. He marched for 4,000s of paces. Okay? Right, that's mille and milia. Okay, just, you know, slightly odd. Okay, we're now going to move on and talk about price and value. Okay, so let's start with some Roman coins. We have the libra, which we would translate as a pound. Okay, Then we have the sestertius. Sestertius. Now that is £2.5. Okay? Not a brilliant thing to have to cope with in your head, but there we go. A sestertius, £2.5. And then a denarius is £10. Okay, or 4 sestertii. Okay. Now, just to confuse things, the Emperor Constantine introduced a coin called the solidus. Okay. Now, libra solidus sestertius. Okay, LSD. Those three initials were kind of translated into English to be an abbreviation for money generally. LSD, as well as being a kind of hallucinogenic, I can't say that word, you know, as well as being a drug that the Beatles used to sing about, LSD also referred to money. And in English we used to think of it as pounds, shillings and pence, LSD. L pounds, because, you know, we were used to using LB as an abbreviation for pound. We still do use that for weights. You know, if something weighs 3 pounds, you might see 3 LB. But it's actually short for Libra. And then S, we translate into English as shillings. Well, actually, it's from that Roman coin, a solidus. That's where that S really came from. And then the D, those of you who remember pre-decimalisation currency, which won't be many, I don't suppose, will remember that D was the abbreviation for a penny in the old money in the UK. So there, you may remember there used to be 12 pennies in a shilling. But D, you know, there's no reason why that would mean penny, except that it was short for denarius. So LSD, Libra Solidus Denarius. Okay, so that's enough about Roman coins. Now, when it comes to price and value, price in Latin is expressed using the ablative case, and value is expressed using the genitive case. So if he bought a book, let's say, for 7 denarii, okay, that's the price, librum amit, that would mean he bought a book, librum amit, for 7 denarii. Septem, well, that word doesn't decline, remember, so you just say septem. But then the denarii, that is going to decline. It's a second declension noun. So we need denariis. Librum septem denariis amit. He bought the book for 7 denarii. Okay, so that's price. And then value. A good example of this is he valued his friendship very highly. Okay, he put a high value on his friendship. Now, the way you would do that in Latin is you'd have the word for friendship, which is amicitia, and you would use it with the verb habeo. He kind of had his friendship. Amicitiam habuit. He had his friendship, but then he had it at a high value, and you would use the word plurimus in the genitive. So, amicitiam plurimi habuit. He had his friendship of very much. Okay? Looks a bit peculiar, but it's a phrase you will see, so, you know, get used to that. The explanation for the grammar involved is that value is expressed using the genitive. So, amicitiam plurimi habuit. Okay? So that's enough about price and value. And finally, today I just want to have a quick look at a few defective verbs. Now, we've already come across the defective verb inquit. Okay, inquit and inquiunt, we use to say he says or they say. Or he said or they said. They don't change their tense. They're just inquit or inquiunt. And it means he, she, or it says, or they say. Okay. Now, it's a defective verb because it doesn't have any other forms. It just has those two forms, inquit and inquiunt. Okay, and there are three other defective verbs that I want to look at, and these are koipi, memini, and odi. Okay, now you can tell they're a bit weird just, from the word go. They start off with their perfect form. Koipi, koipi, koipisti, koipit, koipimus, koipistis, koiperunt. Okay, that means I began, and there isn't a present form. You can't use that verb to say I begin. Now, koipi does have a future perfect and a pluperfect form. That would be koipero and koiperam, for I will have begun and I had begun. Okay, so it's got those perfect tense forms, but nothing in the present, future, and imperfect. Okay, so that is a defective verb. It's kind of useful as long as you're happy to only use the perfect, future perfect, and pluperfect tenses. Okay, now similar to that is memini. Memini, meministi, meminit, meminimus, meministis, meminerunt. Now, memini, very similar. It only has these forms in the perfect, future perfect, and pluperfect. But what's very odd about this one, memini, is although it's got a perfect tense form, it has a present tense meaning. So memini means I remember. And the way to kind of think about it is, what it means is I have called to mind, and therefore I remember. Okay? So memini, meministi, meminit, I remember, you remember, he, she, or it remembers. Okay? And it has future perfect and pluperfect forms as well. Meminero and meminaram, and those will mean I will remember and I was remembering. Okay? So that's memini. And then finally, odi, exactly the same. Odi is a perfect tense form. Odi, odisti, odit, odimus, odistis, oderunt. And it has a future perfect and a pluperfect as well, odoro and odoram. And it means I hate in the present. Okay, so although they are perfect tense forms, they are translated with present or future or imperfect meanings. Okay, so three defective verbs. Koipi, I began. Okay, the only thing that's defective about it is that it doesn't have any present, future or imperfect forms, but its meaning is what you'd expect. It means I have begun. And then memini and odi both only have these perfect tense forms, but they are even stranger because they are translated as if they were present and future and imperfect forms. Okay? Defective because, they are a bit defective. Okay, so a bit of practice of that. We are in chapter 8, we are on page 87, and we'll just have a quick little whiz through exercise 8.12. Okay, nice easy stuff here. So number 1, for example, we have senex vilam multis sestertiis amit. Okay, the old man bought a villa multis sestertiis, for many sestertii. Okay, that's price in the ablative. Number 2, servum amico suo mille denariis vendit it. Okay, he sold, vendit it, servum, a slave, amico suo, to his friend. He sold a slave to his friend, mille denariis, for 1,000 denarii. Okay, and we'll just do one more. Carmina poetarum Graecorum plurimi habemus. Okay, now this is this phrase we've just learnt. To value something highly, you habeo it with a word in the genitive. So, Carmina poetarum Graecorum habemus. We hold the poems, Carmina, the poems or the songs, we hold the poems poetarum Graecorum of the Greek poets, and we hold them plurimi, okay? Genitive, singular, of plurimus, so of a of a lot. So we value them highly. Okay? Okay, we'll have a look at number 2. And as I do number 2, I noticed something that I should have told you about memini, which is memini, as you know, means remember, normally followed by accusative, but it can be followed by a genitive. So it's as if you are mindful of something. So if you have a look at this one, quis meminit filiarum pulchrarum senis, who remembers, and then you've got a genitive phrase after memini. Who remembers the beautiful daughters, senis, of the old man? Okay, and we'll just do one more for the hell of it. Hanc feminam, inquit juvenis, non amo, nec tamen odi. Okay, so we've got inverted commas and a little bit in the middle, inquit juvenis, says the young man, or said the young man. So there's a defective verb inquit, which we've already met, but you know, nice to have it in this chapter. So what have we got in the inverted commas bit? We've got non amo. I do not love hanc feminam, this woman, nec tamen odi, but I do not hate her. Notice odi looks like a perfect tense, but it's translated with a present. I do not love this woman, but I don't hate her. Okay? Right, well, that's enough from Chapter 8. I think Chapter 8 has delighted us quite long enough, as Mr. Bennett would say. And so we will be moving on next time into Chapter 9. What have we got to look forward to? Chapter... Oh, my goodness. Hang on. Oh, my goodness. Chapter 9, gerunds and gerundives. You're going to love them. Okay, but until then, do keep up the good work on the Latin. Drop me a comment in the comments box below if you're having any trouble, and I will see you back on this channel very soon.